Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to JKWD Podcast. We are flying by the seat of our pants once again, but that's okay because I think we do that really, really well. Calvin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, young man. I still here in sunny Liverpool, New York. Yeah. Which means to say, I tell people all the time, if there's daylight outside, it means the sun is shining. Just because you can't see the sun directly,
that's right,
doesn't mean it's not shining.
Sure, it came up at some point this morning.
Bluish in the sky in between some foggy looking things. But hey, it's good. Life is good. I'm great. Got a haircut this week. Kind of cute. You know, I realize it's a self-assessment.
Ladies, he's single.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll put a link to the application process in the what do you want to call it? Show notes. Yeah, maybe not. In case they don't have a sense of humor. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, life is awesome, and I kind of like it that way, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, awesome is a good way for life to be.
That's right.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you on that one.
Just this time, okay. Well, it's nice to know that we agree from time to time. So, what exciting things do you think? Oh, you're back from some pretty exciting times right now, but you probably can't talk about them yet because they haven't actually happened.
Right. We've got this time travel issue. So,
think if you tell us what you just did, it gives you something to do when you go do it.
Right. So here's what's going on, folks. Is today we're recording on the 22nd of November, although this is releasing on the 16th of December. So if you've done the math, this is about 3.5 weeks. And in between now and then, which is hearing this, in between now, which is when you're hearing this, and then when we were recording this, a couple of things happened. One, we had Thanksgiving. So, Kelvin, you did travel. Traveled to Maryland to see your family.
To see the family.
And I'll have gone to Charleston to see my family. And then the following week, which is last week at the time you're hearing this, time traveling in our heads. This is fun. Let's get the calendar out. I'm gonna go spend a few days with my brother outside of Orlando, and that was a birthday gift from my wife, who said, "You need to get away from the baby and go see adults and all that for a while. Go take a little vacation."
What a nice wife.
So, yes. I think she's still feeling guilty for going to Colorado for her birthday. But that's okay.
Oh, she had fun.
She did.
And she got to attend the World Championship of Public Speaking for Toastmasters International. I mean, that was
pretty cool. Yeah.
I'm jealous. I don't say that word very
much. She brought you back a report, though, right?
She did.
Okay, good.
She even managed to send it to me.
Oh, good.
And then she doesn't know it, but she actually challenged me to be at the World Championship next year, 2020.
That's going to be Paris.
It's going to be in Paris, France.
Woo! Paris, France.
No, she challenged me, but she told me it was happening. And then somebody else locally was like, "Hey, World Championships in Paris next year. Who wants to go?" Oh, man. Now I got one from the South and one from the East. Oh, I'm going to have to make a decision and make some plans or something.
That's right. Just buy the plane ticket already. Buy the plane ticket, book the hotel, and then you'll figure out how to make it happen.
Oh, is that how that works?
That's how that works.
Right on. I happen to know
that's what we did with
you've done that process, huh?
That's what we did with that trip to Hawaii. We talked about last week. We're just like, hey, we're going. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
So
I'm still jealous over that one too. Right.
So your challenge to me was to tell you what I was going to do so that I will have done it by the time people hear this.
Uh-huh.
I know that one thing I'm going to do is go for a nice run around a lake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to attempt to have lunch with an old high school friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I know my brother has been doing a fair bit of kayaking and a fair bit of horseback riding lately. So I am going to join him in those endeavors. And we have a happy child.
That was a long time coming.
That you can hear in the background. Yes. I think she's looking forward to photos of Daddy on horseback.
Oh, well, there you go. Heck, I'm looking forward to photos of Daddy on the horseback. As a matter of fact, more than that, don't hit me. I want to see pictures of Daddy on the ladder getting up on the horse. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, right.
You're not allowed to cuss me out over that either.
Well, that's not true. I just won't do it in public.
Oh, well, yeah, because we don't.
I probably won't even do it to your face.
We don't want to.
I'll probably do it privately while I'm climbing that ladder. Yeah, we know how to. Oh man! So, just out of curiosity, while you're down in Orlando, are you thinking about taking the bone broth with you, or are you gonna have them deliver a truckload down there where you? Yeah, I'll probably just have some sent down. I mean, it's a drive anyway. I could just back to the car, but I would get 10% off my order if I were to go over to kettleandfire.com and use code BetterHumanhood at checkout. So in case you weren't sure what all that just was, go to kettleandfire.com. That's kettleandfire.com. You can go get some delicious bone broths. You can get some delicious soups. It's winter wherever you are right now, or about to be winter. I think the solstice is technically still a few days away, but the weather doesn't pay attention to the calendar.
In my book, is close enough for government work.
Yeah, the weather doesn't pay attention to the calendar usually. So it's cold enough for soup, unless you're in Australia. It's the middle of
and they're just opposite.
Right.
See, that's where I need to get a ticket to before I go to France.
There you go. Get one for like
see my friend
February,
Julie.
March, right in the middle there. But go to kettleandfire.com, fill up your box with bone broths, with soups, with whatever catches your fancy, and you can save 10% off by using code BetterHumanhood at checkout. We should probably play some music before we babble on further. Farther?
Both.
Josh and Kelvin World Domination Podcast, where we talk about better humanhood and teach you how to dominate your world. You ready? Here we go.
Hey, so the year's winding down, and I know that we will go do our usual year end. What did we do in our year beginning? What are we gonna do episode? And we're gonna talk about Christmas next week and whatever goes along with that.
That's right.
But we talked a couple of weeks ago about planning. Just getting the right planner to do your planning for for the what you're going to do.
Yes.
So I don't know. Like I said, we're flying by the seat of our pants here. Maybe a good thing to talk about is where do we get the ideas for what to do? Where do we get the motivation to do it? So, how do we? Where do we come up with the what are we going to do? Like, where does that come from? And then how do we decide to do it?
In my particular case,
yeah,
I have a very, very long list of things I was going to do and haven't yet.
Okay.
So all I need to do is create a selection of them.
Okay. Do you remember where those came from in the first place, though? Because we'll talk more about what those are that you're going to do, but how did you come up with this list?
I don't even know if we need to do that part, but we set up, I in particular set up a rather aggressive goal list last year when we did our, what are we going to be doing in 2019?
Right.
And I mean, if I were to grade that project right now, a low C would be very, very generous.
Okay.
That's because I don't want to fall into the D range. But
so your 2020 list is going to look a lot like your 2019 list?
My 2020 list is going to bear some resemblance to my 2019 list.
Okay. So without, because we'll talk about, what's in store for 2020 in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. How are you going to motivate yourself?
Now there's an interesting question. You probably knew that before you asked it, didn't you?
Yeah.
I have at the moment, actually, I have a fairly energized, we'll call it mastermind group I'm participating in.
Okay.
With some movers and shakers and people who, as a matter of fact, I think our mantra is 2020 is going to be our best year yet.
Awesome.
And we have a fairly motivated guy whom we all respect, who is kind of ramrodding that thing.
So we did a whole episode on masterminds a while back. Mm-hmm. Remind people what a mastermind is.
A mastermind, especially if you go back to Think and Grow Rich, basically two or more minds focus on the same goals. But basically, it ends up being an accountability group. It ends up being a group of advisors to help you move forward. It ends up being, if you need some fine tuning and just support and motivation to keep focused and keep moving. With regular reports on what you are or are not doing. And the thing about our particular mastermind, it has been agreed that for people who are not actually performing at the minimums we have set up, that perhaps they change their mind about the goals and should not pollute the group, basically. Yeah. My goal is to not be one that has to be the anti-pollutant. But I had a bunch of stuff happen last year. Nothing bad, just every once in a while you get that funk going on.
Yeah.
So the object is to stay motivated this year, to do the things that I teach people to do, which are continue to listen to the things that keep us going and practice them and have some personal accountability, as well as those from my friends like that Shear guy down in Georgia, who has stopped short of physical abuse when I haven't made. But I'm actually motivated to do that. I've got some stuff I really want to do. It's been maybe actually fine tune and see what on my list last year for instance, was not a realistic goal. One of the things I suffer from is too much itis.
Yep. I'm familiar with that disease.
It's difficult to focus on over so many things simultaneously. It can make you cross-eyed.
Well, as we know, you can only focus on one thing at a time.
That's what we're told.
Oh,
yes.
People talk about multitasking.
Yeah.
But really, multitasking is just fast task switching.
Yeah.
That you can't check your email and read a book at the same time.
That is correct.
I've actually
tried that.
Your attention is actually only on one thing at a time.
Right.
So, whether if you're doing them at the same time, you're still only focusing on one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I plan to do that, and actually, I'm reading a book actually right now. Called The Coaching Habit, which is really good. And the name of that person I'll think of in a second.
It'll be on the show notes.
There's a section in Creating Habits, which he says, if you go read this, then you can get rid of some of that junk that's on the web about how to create habits. It doesn't actually work, and really based on a lot of neuroscience and stuff. And he has a nice formula for creating habits, which start with just a real brief thing is number one, identifying, we all got habits. Once we determine that those habits aren't serving us, we need to identify what the triggers are because something triggers it.
Right.
And once you trigger it, you need to figure out what you want to replace it with. And determined to replace it with that, figure out exactly what you're going to do. And beyond that, start small and work up.
So to use that trigger to trigger something else because the trigger's not going away. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So, I noticed, but the big part of a lot of it is noticing what the trigger is in the first place.
Right.
Because typically, and one of the things he talks about with, trying to change too many habits is until you identify the trigger, you're 60% into the habit before you notice it started and what really started that? So teaching a bit of self-awareness and what exactly is triggering this thing that I'm doing that's not good for me. And I like that. We'll put that book in the show notes because it talks about the coaching habit, but it's not the typical coaching book. And the stuff he's talking about is really, really good for even yourself. Great questions to ask yourself to start doing some things. So I quite like it. It's on my second time through now.
Wow. Yeah, I've been going back through the Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. Mm-hmm. Jocko Willink, and it's something I have on audio. Mm-hmm. And that's available through iTunes, not Audible.
Really?
So don't go looking for it at Audible.
There is such a thing, huh?
Yeah. And one of the things like I said, we'll get to it we'll get to it in our what's coming up for 2020. But one of the things this past year that I found very challenging is taking care of my health. Mm-hmm. And apart from trying to find the time and energy to exercise when you have a night job and you're up with the baby in the middle of the night and you with the baby all day, mm-hmm. Is late night eating. And one thing that Jocko mentions is are you hungry or are you bored? And so now when I find myself, especially on my break, because I take a break very late, I take it around midnight or 1 a.m. If I open the fridge 2 or 3 times, mm-hmm. I really take that assessment. Like, am I actually hungry or am I bored? And there are some times when I can honestly say I'm hungry. I fasted, I did an intermittent fast. I've did a dinner to dinner fast, and I didn't eat a day's worth of calories for dinner. So yeah, I'm actually hungry, and find something reasonable to eat. And something reasonable to eat is not 1,000 calories of garbage. Just because I have
Speak
time.
for yourself.
So, but then there are other times when I'm like, okay, no, I'm bored. I'm going to get a book and I'm going to pace in circles around the house and read this book. And that passes the time for me. Or if it's not freezing out, I'll go outside for a walk up and down the street. I live in a safe neighborhood. I can go out and do that at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's fine.
Yes. Yes. And if you're in sunny New York over here where I am, maybe
probably not.
It's
probably
a little different.
A little cold. We've been talking about. It's been a year and a half since we said goodbye to our puppy, and we've been talking about a dog, and that's one of the things that having a dog does. Late night is on that late night lunch break. I can always just. Most dogs are always up for a walk, but I think we're gonna hold off a little longer until I had time to also train the dog during the day.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but anyway,
I was talking to a new friend not too long ago, and she was talking about she trains dogs and she trains horses, and she said that the problem with training dogs is. The problem is not the dogs so much as
it's the people.
Owners. You got to train the owners.
Yeah, well, when we went to an obedience class, when we first got Rufus, that obedience class was strictly focused on the owners, and in fact, the first class was don't even bring your dog.
Cool.
Yeah. So any dog can learn anything. You just have to convince the dog that you're. Worthy of giving the command,
right?
And then you have to be consistent because, I'm sure horses are probably the same way.
Yeah, I've heard stories. Dogs definitely learn how to take advantage of the inconsistent owner.
Sure, and humans are notoriously inconsistent.
Yep.
But anyway, back to motivation. So what's motivating me this coming year is the fact that I want to be around. And the fact that I do want to build a better world, and I want to be part of that better world that I'm hoping to help build. So, my motivation is coming mostly internally. And I know that that's not for everybody, but it is for some people. And I happen to be one of those people who's fairly good at internal motivation.
Cool. I got to go back into my internal motivation course.
Well,
actually, I started doing last week when I started deciding to revisit some of our MKMMA studies, because there was some really, really good stuff in there.
Right. And one of the things that Haanel wrote about, and the course starts at the heart of the course is the Master Key System by Charles Haanel. One of the things that he dictates is sit in quiet, and your first week or so that you're doing this, you control your body. You sit still, because if you can't control your body, you're not going to be able to control your mind. But if you can control your body, you can control your mind. And then the next
Perfect.
22, 23 weeks, you get mind exercises to really work on controlling your mind, and not just a quiet meditation, watch your thoughts come and go. There are some very focused, picture a ship, see how, understand how it had to get built, and
that was a crazy exercise.
How the engineering, how the design went through it. So there's a lot of deep thinking, very directed thought work.
Yep.
Going into it, and it's progressive. So I mean, you don't start big, you start small, and you grow.
Yep. And it was, and I miss it, strangely enough, because it was, getting to the point where you could actually do that and actually sit there and think and not scratch your nose when
right.
When it itches.
Oh yeah, because the first thing you do when you're told not to move is get itchy, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
And maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but most of the reading is available on YouTube, chapter by chapter. So,
oh yeah, well,
if you're not gonna, I feel like for me, things connect more if I'm actually sitting down and reading them.
Right. It is too easy to multitask when you're listening.
Or try to multitask, because we just talked about, you can't actually multitask.
Whatever we call that we
you put your focus somewhere else. Yeah, you put your focus somewhere else. Yeah,
right. So I have to do that, and it's I really have a need to just immerse myself in
no time like the present.
No time like the present. I pulled the book out, all 3 inches of it, the stuff we got when I was in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really cool. So.
Yeah, it's and whether or not you go through the course we went through, the Master Key Experience, and we'll have a link to that in the show notes. You can read the book. It's probably free or close to free because it's old. Like I think it's out of copyright. I think it's in the public domain now.
Yeah.
So it's probably
what is it? It's not Google. It's
Project Gutenberg might have it. We'll find you a copy, even if it's a $2 Kindle book, or if it's a few dollars on. Yeah. Or it might be a few dollars on Amazon, because one thing you can do with public domain books is you can just throw a cover on them, write an intro, and release them because they're in the public domain.
Well, there is that.
So
I would like to throw in a caution here.
Yeah.
That we learned. A lot of us get hooked on the current knowledge. You can get mesmerized by the neuroscience and the promises of neuroscience and what they say and what they've studied and stuff like that. What I have discovered in my studies is that, the old wisdom was good wisdom, and that stuff worked. What a lot of the studies in neuroscience has done has explained why it works. Right.
We've explained some of the science behind it.
Yeah.
But we've done the same thing with biology too, right?
Right.
We talk sometimes when we do our read for Kettle and Fire, we talk about, chicken soup being the Jewish penicillin, and we know why now, but we've been using chicken soup to cure colds for hundreds of years.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done this the slow way, but Campbell's has been working good for me for a long time.
Right, but so now we understand why it works.
Right. Yep.
But it doesn't change the fact that it was working.
Correct. So, and that's what a lot of us, Think and Grow Rich, that whole regimen was my stuff. But if you think that it has to be current stuff, that it's not. The principles work. The reason they work is, sometimes it's nice to know that, but the fact that if you practice them and commit to them, they work is the important part.
Right, and the reasoning changes and the science changes, and if you read the Haanel, then he talks about science, and we know that some of the science that he mentions is a little outdated, but that doesn't stop the stuff from working.
Mm-hmm.
We knew, until 1492, we knew the world was flat. And until Galileo, we knew that that the Earth was the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Just science evolves. We learn new stuff. Yeah, and then
so get it.
Yeah,
but it still works. Desire and focus and attention is still the formula that makes the universe go round.
And as we've mentioned a couple of times this episode, and throughout this whole throughout the 184 episodes of this podcast, you do need some motivation. You need some why. So before you figure out what you're going to do, figure out why you're going to do it. And you can do stuff like get the focus. Go use some of these tools. Go use the master key system. The focus is just a tool in your toolbox. The mastermind is just a tool in your toolbox. All these things are, it's stuff to use. Like you don't have to have a need for a hammer to have a hammer just in case, or for when the time comes. Build up your toolkit.
Yes. Yes, it is. She's happier. Jay. Yes, sir. So what, how about your list of the things that, we were talking about mine and what I was going to refocus on.
Yeah. So I have a very short list for 2020. And we'll discuss more specifics, but they're all going to focus around the number one priority for me is going to be health. I put myself in a position, this past year, where I'm overweight, and where I'm overweight enough that it's causing the issues that go with being overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Like prediabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and I've got that genetic predisposition to heart disease. So the high cholesterol is a problem. I'll find out over the next couple of weeks. After this podcast comes out, so not before the podcast comes out. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll find out if the doctor is going to want to put me on any medication, and if he does, I'm going to do my best to be off it by the next. Yeah, I'm going to do my best to, by the next physical I have him be okay. You can come off it now. I'll take the meds because they're going to help me live longer. But I'm going to try to get rid of the root cause. So since that's something that I can do, so that'll be my primary focus. But we'll talk in a couple of weeks about projects and that kind of stuff, and we should also have some we should also have some other information about my year by the time we next meet. So,
all right. And mine should be a little more fine-tuned.
All right.
So, because that'll be weeks. Yeah, it's weeks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, this year has flown by, hasn't it?
It has.
I know it's been a while since one of us actually said that, but
yeah. Yeah, we say it about once a quarter, right?
Yeah. Where did
crap? We're 9 months through the year already.
Whew. Oh my goodness! Yeah.
And now we're just about through the year. So,
yep. But all in all, it's been a good year. I think I had a little some struggles going on with some stuff, but I actually ended up making some decisions, and every once in a while we just have to look at what we're doing and go like, does this make sense?
That's right.
And I was doing some things that were making me miserable, and I hate being miserable, so I stopped.
That's a reasonable thing.
Probably made somebody else miserable at the time, but that wasn't my problem.
That's right.
But life's good. So I got big plans, and actually, you're working with me on one of mine right now. So that's access.
We'll talk about that too.
So we're gonna look and see how we can make that work, because that's just something I need to do. And hey,
and I'll get a closer look at that soon.
Plus, I'm not near done sending you stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know we both have stuff that we're gotta get to on our calendars. So, Kelvin, thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you for listening. Rate, review, share. I know this was kind of scattered, but I think we got some direction out of it. I hope you got something out of it. jkwdpodcast.com for show notes for this and every other episode. kettleonfire.com, code BetterHumanHood at checkout for 10% off your order. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Show notes and more at jkwdpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your friends, and we will see you next week. Bye! A Better Humanhood production.